Hey guys, this is Fiverr. So, on the stream and on YouTube and on my Discord and on the forums, there is a question that I've been getting a lot since the introduction of cluster ULs in 3.10. And that question is, what cluster ULs do I recommend for Frostblades? And I have a couple of different combinations and notables that I recommend that are very, very strong. I have one specifically. I'm going to start with the first one, which is the one that I recommend that is extremely good up until a certain point. And that is the combination with cold conduction and Storm Rider. You can only get this one on a passive duel that has the implicit added small passives grants 10% increased effect of non-damaging ailments. So this combination is only available on this specific duel. So it's a medium cluster duel with this implicit on it. The cold conduction gives us a 100% chance to shock shield enemies with our attacks. The Storm Rider one gives us 10% chance to gain a power charge when you shock a shield enemy. So on every attack, we gain 10% chance to gain a power charge when we're attacking shield enemies. Now, normally the way shock works, if you shock enemies with your lightning damage, then you have to do above a certain threshold of damage on the enemy's life in order for the shock to actually be very effective. But in this case, the minimum value the value that we are going to apply is 15%, which makes this one really, really strong. We don't have to reach a certain threshold, and it would be impossible for us to do that since we don't do any lightning damage. So this one is really, really powerful, and I recommend getting Cold Conduction. And together with Storm Rider, it is very, very powerful. Until you get Farrell's Fur, at which point Storm Rider becomes completely useless. Or well, not completely useless. You get 25% increased cold damage, so it's still good. But there is a better option when you reach that point, which is going cold. Let's see, Cold Conduction and Blast Freeze instead. So Blast Freeze gives us increased cold damage, and it inflicts, or like it spreads our freezes to nearby enemies within a radius of 12. Which can be really, really useful sometimes, specifically like in the simulacrum when there's a lot of enemies and they're all attacking you. If you freeze one of them, then a lot of them will be frozen as well. So it's very, very powerful. So there is another skill or a notable that is also very, very powerful, which is called Blanketed Snow. Let's see if I can find it here. I made one earlier. Here. So Blanketed Snow, which gives us damage penetrates 10% cold resistance against shield enemies. This one is very, very strong. The problem with this one is that you can only get it, or you can't get it on the same ones as you can get Cold Conduction, which would be ideal. So when you have a Farrell's Fur later on and you already get power charges from that one and you don't need Storm Rider, then a good combo would be to have Blanketed Snow with Cold Conduction. Unfortunately, that is not possible on this specific duel. However, there is a combination, or there is a unique duel called Megalomaniac, which can have any of the notables. It can have all of the notables that are available. So you can get Blanketed Snow together with Cold Conduction on that one. It's probably going to be very hard and very expensive to get one of those, but it is possible, and I wanted to mention it. There are a couple of other ones that are pretty cool, but like nothing special, but some of them are like pretty decent. There's one called Master of Fear. Let's see if I can. That gives Intimidate against enemies you curse. So if you have a curse on hit ring, which I always recommend that you should aim for, if you have a curse on hit ring, then you will also intimidate all those enemies that you hit. This is useful if you don't have intimidate on your lethal pride, which I always recommend, or if you aren't using Tomb Fist with a Murderous Eye jewel socketed in them. However, this is not something that I think you should be aiming to get, because it's, well, you should be getting the Intimidate in other ways. There are a couple of cool ones that you can use, but the ones that I recommend is Cold Conduction, Blanketed Snow, Blast Freeze, and Storm Rider. So Cold Conduction and Storm Rider together as the first one. I think that's all I have. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.